I am so excited for your family. You have an international trip planned. However, you're feeling a little nervous because you have little ones and you're not sure how they're gonna do on the flight or with the time change once you get there. But I'm your girl and I'm gonna walk you through every step of the way. Hi, my name is Sarah Bossio, and as the lead pediatric sleep expert of Your Zen Baby Sleep, I have successfully sleep trained hundreds of families who have brought their babies, toddlers, and preschoolers on international trips to Europe and to Asia and have done just fine without any hiccups. You can do it too, as long as you plan properly and bring a few things to prepare to make sure that sleep stays on track. Let's get right into it. First things first, what I am assuming is that because it's an international trip and you are leaving from the United States, you will be flying at some point overnight, and that's awesome. So I want you to plan your first travel day and arrange it as if you are leaving on the time wherever you live. I live outside of New York City, so I am going to use East Coast time when I am leaving, and that will be my basis for nap schedules, bedtime schedules, etc. until I arrive at my destination. For the purposes of this video, so I don't get myself confused, I'm gonna use New York East Coast time, and the example that I will give will be traveling to a country in Europe. So I am traveling east to west for my arrival there, and then obviously west to east for my flight back home. If you haven't booked your flights yet, try to get the flight that's a little closer to bedtime. So for example, like an 8 p.m. flight, so that your child is nice and primed and ready to actually fall asleep when the flight is in air, right? They're not gonna fall asleep right at takeoff. They're gonna be jazzed and excited about the in-flight entertainment and the screens and the snacks that they're gonna be passed out. If you have a toddler or preschooler, if you have a baby, they're gonna ignore all that stuff. But right around the 8 o'clock time, you'll be able to really nail bedtime so that your child is going to be able to sleep the majority of that overnight flight. If you've already booked your flight and you didn't get a time that is right around bedtime, but it's still in the evening, don't stress. What I want you to do is, again, just use their normal bedtime as the time when you are going to say, okay, now it's bed. We are going to do a quick little bedtime routine, shut our screens off, and prepare our little tiny seat area for sleep. When traveling with a baby, if you're lucky enough to get the bulkhead seats, request a bassinet so that you can actually place the baby in the bassinet for the remainder of the flight and they can sleep throughout the flight. White noise is natural on an airplane, right? It is very loud, but you can bring a travel white noise machine to help with the white noise. When you are with a toddler or a preschooler, if the airline allows it, you can bring, they almost look like inflatable cushions that you can place like on the floor in between the bottom of your seat and the seat in front of you. You'll only be able to use this on a window seat or a middle seat. You won't be able to use these in the aisle seats, but basically what they do is create a flat surface from the actual base of the seat to the seat in front of you so that your toddler can lay flat. That way, they have a more comfortable place to actually lay down and sleep. Depending on the height of your preschooler or big kid, you may be able to get away with them pushing themselves up in a little bit of a ball position and sleeping on a inflatable like this as well. I highly recommend just giving it a shot, right? Any type of support that you can bring to make them a little more comfortable on this overnight flight is worth the money, in my opinion. Make sure that you are also bringing any type of activities to distract your kid as you're trying to settle down for the bedtime routine, as much as I want to make sure that our screens are kept at a minimum so that we are not activating the brain and the cortisol and the adrenaline and all that stuff. Whatever, bring a screen, because if they really can't settle themselves down and they're not into whatever is provided in the in-flight entertainment, you're gonna want to bring whatever they love from Netflix or whatever they're binging on, right? So you want good headphones. You want a really good set of headphones. Read reviews on Amazon to make sure that they work in an airplane. airplane headphones are different than headphones that you're using in your living room. There's a different quality of volume, and if they don't work well, your toddler's going to complain. So don't be afraid if you're setting the bedtime routine and you're managing two, and one of kid needs to be distracted with their iPad and their headphones, and the other one you're trying to get to sleep, and then you do the swap. That's totally fine. As you're preparing for them to go to bed, get them in cozy pajamas, change any diapers if they're diapering, get them to the bathroom, get their belly filled with a little bit of a snack, turn the lights out, right? And let them go to sleep. As long as they are able to sleep for any amount of time on these overnight flights, you are golden, right? Any stretch of sleep is amazing for them. And I want you to try and get any stretch of sleep possible too. Keep in mind for yourself, you have been sleep deprived before, my friend. You have functioned on very minimal broken sleep and you've been fine. Now, it's ideal to not function on broken sleep when you're paying lots of money to go on a lovely European vacation, but you will be able to make up for that sleep in the next night. And kids make up for it really, really quickly because they have naps that they will be able to take the next day, which we're going to talk about next. We have arrived in our country and it is likely the morning time, right? So sometime between 8 and 10 a.m., let's say, in your country's time, your arrival country. So I'm just going to use Italy as an example for my European country, my destination. I want you to wake the kids up and I want you to try to keep them awake until their normal nap time. So if you have a baby and they're taking 3 naps a day, I want you to keep them awake until their 9, 12:30, and 4 o'clock nap, let's say. Nap them on the time in Rome or Florence or Venice, wherever you're going, right? So that they start to adjust to the time where you have landed. I don't want you to start to panic stress about the fact that they only slept for 4 or 5 hours on the flight the night before. Again, everybody can function on fewer hours of sleep. It's fine. Nobody's gonna melt, okay? Putting them on the schedule in your country's time, the country of destination time, will help their body get adjusted more quickly. The key here being, we don't want them to sleep past the normal nap length, right? So for that first nap especially, let's say it's a toddler, we really want to try and hold them off until 12 o'clock. But for that first nap especially, they're going to be exhausted and they really might want to sleep for like 4 hours, right? Like that's what I would want to do. As soon as I land in Europe, I just want to sleep, but I want to sleep for hours and hours. Try and keep it to like 2 hours. Right? And if you can, I want you to try and make up for your sleep in one of those naps as well so that you can try and catch up. Set an alarm, wake the family up so that you are just telling your body, I'm sleeping at this time and making it a nap, and then I'm going to get outside and I'm going to expose my eyes to daylight and I'm going to adjust to the circadian rhythm based on the country that I am in right now. For your first day in the country, I think you might have already guessed this, we're not going to make any huge plans in terms of sightseeing or crazy late dinners, right? We're going to keep it low. We're going to get to our accommodations. We are going to check in. We're going to try and get a nap in. We might do a little sightseeing and getting used to the neighborhood that we are in. We're going to have an early dinner and then it's early to bed. So don't be afraid of an early bedtime. It's going to feel like, right? So I'm going to use Italy again. I'm going to try and get to bed at 7 p.m. It's really actually 1 p.m. in my body. It doesn't matter. I slept maybe 3 or 4 hours on the flight the night before. I'm going to be exhausted, even if my naps were, all right for the day. My body needs to get adjusted to the time of the country that I am in. So I'm going to put my kids down at 7 p.m. I'm going to get myself ready for bed at 8 p.m. And because your kids are great independent sleepers, because you've watched all my YouTube videos and you've sleep trained them and they know exactly what to do, they're going to sleep straight through the night, more than likely until about 6 a.m. If they wake up at 5, so be it. It is what it is. At least we all caught up on our sleep. From here on out, I want you to go out and enjoy. I don't want you to worry about being nap trapped at your hotel or your Airbnb or your family's house, wherever you're staying. If you can offer naps on the schedule, but on the go, that's preferable. So at least your baby knows, I'm napping at these times, but it's in a stroller, it's in a carrier. You don't need to come back to your accommodations necessarily to do a nap unless you want to, unless you need a break in the day and you feel like everybody needs a chance to chill out. You also don't need to have your right on time bedtime unless you want to. I want you to strike the balance though, okay? So if I've been out and about and I'm doing all these naps on the go and it's been 3 or 4 days in a row and I've done 3 or 4 late dinners and late bedtimes, I want you to be cognizant of the fact that your child might start to get tired. So we might need to take a day to chill out and we may need a nap in the pack and play, right? we may need to do an early bedtime and relax a little bit to make sure that our sleep maintains the consistency and that we don't see any off sleep in the middle of the night. What if we do see off sleep in the middle of the night? Listen, rules go out the window in my mind when we are traveling. Whatever you need to do just to get your child to sleep so that everybody can sleep, so that you can feel well rested to enjoy your vacation is the name of the game. You will be able to get everything back on track when you are traveling back to your home and you are in your own environment and they're used to where they are sleeping. For any families who I have worked with who are sleep trained ahead of time, that's usually not the case. We usually don't need to worry about international travel because we don't lose the skill just because we're sleeping in another country. But that is there as a troubleshooting option for you should you feel like things are getting a little wrong. There's an old saying by who I don't know that west is best and east is beast. So when we are traveling to the west, it's going to be a little bit easier. Meaning, if I am coming back from Italy to New York, I am traveling west. And it's going to be a little bit easier to adjust to the jet lag as a result of my trip. The good thing about this is that you are going to be traveling technically during the bulk of your day, right? Bad thing about that is that you're going to really have to entertain your kids for about a 9-hour flight, which is no fun. It's even hard for us as adults to sit still on a 9-hour flight. So make sure that you got your devices charged, make sure you got lots of snacks and lots of things to keep them entertained, and get up and moving around the plane so that you can feel like you make it through that flight without a hitch. When you land in New York, it is going to be, let's say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to feel like 10 p.m. in their body, in all of your bodies. What you need to do as best as you can is stay awake until at least 7 p.m. New York time, which will feel like 1 a.m. in your body because you were just in Italy. Right? You're going to be overtired, and that's okay. As long as you can get to a reasonable New York bedtime, that's going to help you sleep from 7 p.m. at night until at least 5, 6, 7 a.m. the next day. And this will help you to adjust to the time on the East Coast as quickly as possible. The next day, same thing as when you went abroad, you just offer naps on the clock in your country, the United States, as quickly as possible and on time as much as possible on that first full day back from your vacation. Last tip, if things were off, if you had to support to sleep or if your rules went out the window and you needed to be in survival mode for vacation, the time to get things back on track is your first full night at home. So maybe not your travel night because it's a little challenging. Everybody's really tired. But after, right, you've traveled, you've gone to bed, you've had your first full day of naps, that night, you are getting the sleep rules period at the end. You're in your crib, you're figuring it out. You're in your big kid bed, you're figuring it out. Getting things back on track immediately, even if there's protest, is going to be your best plan of action to make sure that independent sleep is reinforced. Let me know if you have any questions and let me know where you're going. I love talking to families about their international trips because they're exciting. I love when kids get to experience culture no matter their age. So leave a comment below, and on your way down, give me a like and subscribe so you know when I'm releasing my newest YouTube videos. As always, from my living room to yours, thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see you again next time.